Marriage is hard, and intimacy is very important in a marriage. And it's not only very important, it's probably the most important thing between a husband and a wife. Physical intimacy and emotional intimacy, both. And when you're married for any amount of time, you know that is challenging, right? And some people have a harder time with the physical part. Some people have a harder time with the emotional part.
She's talking about sex for people who can't read between the lines.
Welcome to the Unspeakable Podcast. I'm your host, Meghan. Dom? We're going to get to that. We're going to examine this once and for all. So just stay tuned for that. In the meantime, my guests, they are back for their fourth visit to this podcast. They are Yael Bar Tur and ChayaLeah Sufrin. They are the co-hosts of the podcast Ask a Jew. I like to bring these girls in twice a year to discuss the Jewish holidays. So they come in for Passover, and this week they are here for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. ChayaLeah was born and raised in an Orthodox Hasidic community. She's still part of that community in Southern California. Yael is a secular Israeli who now lives in New York City. And together they have this remarkable podcast, I'm Not Jewish, which may surprise you. I've actually gone on their podcast. They have a little segment called People We Thought Were Jewish Who Are Not. And I believe I was one of their first guests, if not the first. So anyway, I am not Jewish, but this is one of my favorite podcasts. It's incredibly informative, and they're also both hilarious. And I love having them on. So we're going to talk about the holidays, the meaning of them. We are going to touch on something that ChayaLeah talked about when she was here for Passover. She talked about how Orthodox Jews have to get their cars detailed so there are no crumbs in them, because if the crumbs aren't kosher, something like this, they can't be in the car or something. I don't even know. But a lot of people heard that and thought that could not be true. And so I pushed back at her on that, and she claims that it is true. And who am I to say? I mean, it is true that she says it's true. And we talk about that, and we talk about mikvehs, which are a ritual bath that Orthodox Jewish women do routinely. I'm not going to say any more about it because I'm not going to describe it adequately, but it's fascinating and very detailed discussion. So look, if you listen to one conversation about mikvahs in your whole life, it should be this one. It really should be. So we're going to talk. And then the bonus here, I'm doing something new. I did a little solo bonus segment for you. Talked about a couple of things. Talked about the pronunciation of my last name, which is something that I've been wrestling with lately. So cover that and answer a couple of questions that have come in for the Ask Me Anything call. I put the call out for you guys to ask me some questions. So I cover that. And in the meantime, here's my conversation with ChayaLeah Sufrin and Yael Bar Tur. I can't believe, ChayaLeah, that you went canoeing, kayaking this morning.
I did.
Didn't you hear that the rabbis...
so not Jewish. That's so... I didn't know that Orthodox people could kayak.
I know. I'm in my burqa and no, I'm just kidding.
Didn't you know that the rabbis... I read in the New York Times that the rabbis in Israel advised against men and women kayaking. It's like true story.
Oh my God. No, they didn't. Seriously?
What? Yeah, that was in the thing remember the New York Times headline from last week that they have every week, like a headline with an Orthodox Jew in it.
Yeah.
And this time it was like an Orthodox Jew walking next to a sign in Hebrew or Yiddish or whatever in Israel. And it said something about tensions between men and women. And literally, like, if you look closely at the sign, it was something against like canoeing. I don't know if canoeing and kayaking are the same though.
That's hilarious.
A lot of dirty stuff happens in canoes.
Well, yeah, I don't know what kind of canoes you've been in, Meghan, but
yeah, well, I'm only in goyish canoes. So, ChayaLeah, before you came on, Yael and I just decided that a good segment for us would be like you guys say a problem, or maybe just Yael says a problem, and I give like the goyish interpretation of it.
That's great. Okay. Do you have any examples, Yael?
Yeah. I did.
We're rolling, by the way. So welcome, welcome both of you.
Talk about those later.
We don't have any time to waste.
That's
so
great.
ChayaLeah and Yael, welcome back. I'm sure I mispronounce your names every time, but
you actually get it really well. I'm so impressed.
It's close enough, yeah.
Well, it's not perfect though. I don't even know how to pronounce my own name, so
that's
it doesn't matter.
I don't know how to spell your name. I always spell your name wrong, so it's
my name has
Meghan,
why
we have a theory of why you have us back here all the time. Otherwise, we don't know. Like why we keep getting invited.
Yeah, what's your theory?
Going to say this, Yael?
Our theory is
going to hurt
that
my feelings.
No, it's good. Well, it's good because it will help weed out the listeners who are not comfortable with like casual anti-Semitism. So we have a theory that you did like an anti-Semitism, maybe on Twitter or something, or you accidentally liked a tweet by Whoopi Goldberg, and then instead of going to the Holocaust Museum, which is what they do with anti-Semites,
right? Well,
they were like, you have to have these Jewish people on your show twice a year.
Yeah, it's reparations. You guys are a form of reparations.
By the way, I'm totally fine with that. If any anti-Semite wants to have us on, like, what's the name of that stupid kid? The Nick Fuentes or something? Like, I'd totally be on his
from
show.
The Proud Boys?
Help us. I don't know.
Well,
if like
anti-Semites have a lot of listeners.
Yeah,
they do.
And there's a lot of overlap, I think, between our listeners and their listeners.
Oh my God. We should. Did you see how Jennifer Aniston liked Jamie Foxx's comment? You know how he put on like some vaguely anti-Semitic thing. I don't even know. He didn't even mention Jews, but
it was like 2 anti-Semitic incidents ago. This was like really old.
I know, but Jennifer Aniston had to like come out and be like, I'm not anti-Semitic. It's so stupid.
I know, but the thing is with Jennifer Aniston is she's old, and we all know what old people do. They go on Instagram and like everything.
She's exactly
they
my
see.
age.
She's not old.
Well, do you go on Instagram and like everything you see?
I'm not even on Instagram. I don't go on.
That's a generational thing. So I don't blame her.
I think 4 times before I like something, honestly. It's like you have to really think about it.
Is that a Jewish thing to think 4 times?
Is that what the Talmud says? The Talmud says that before you retweet, you should make sure. And actually, the Talmud calls it X. So before you retweet on X, you need to think 4 times.
What's the Hebrew character of X, like Shin or something?
I don't know. There isn't one actually.
There isn't one.
That's interesting.
But have you ever deep liked? You know what isn't that what it's called? Deep like. When you like you're stalking somebody online and you go on their back pictures and you like a photo from like 2021.
Yeah. Oh, that's what that means?
It's super creepy.
Would you do that by accident? Like, is that not a good thing to do?
Some people don't do it by accident because they don't have manners. But some people like me do it by accident, and it's the worst thing ever because you can't you can unlike it, but the notification is still there. You know, you're done.
I accidentally, one time I like accidentally started following like an old boyfriend's wife or something. Oh, God. Like totally by accident. Like, cause and it was so embarrassing. And I had to come up with some.
Have you ever texted the wrong person something that you meant to text someone else and it was about the person?
It's my biggest fear.
There's so many.
How do you get out
problems.
of that? Do you like just own it?
Yeah, you have to.
You have to pretend that you're talking about like a third person that you all hate.
Either that or either you lie or you have to be like, I am the biggest piece of shit and I'm so embarrassed and I'm sorry. And, you know, like you really have to own it. It's uncomfortable.
I saw a meme once that made me like, that I still think about sometimes and it like hurts my stomach. And it said something like, everybody remember that one day you were the person that somebody took a screenshot of and sent to somebody else.
Oh.
I was like, that's definitely happened to all of us. We've all been in
I just feel like it's one of those things you have to go through life and not think about what people are saying about you behind your back because nobody would be able to go on.
Well, Meghan, you shared once this essay. I forget by who, but I really liked
Tim
it.
Kreider.
Talked about it. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. It's a brilliant piece.
It's brilliant. It was about like, of course we talk about each other. Like, have you seen us? We're ridiculous.
Yeah. And the whole thing started actually was because somebody had accidentally like hit a reply all on an email that he had sent and the person was making fun of him to somebody else and he saw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he talks about he says in order to enjoy the benefits of being loved, we have to endure the mortifying ordeal of being known.
Oh boy, that is nobody should be known. I think that's something the goys and the wasps agree on. Nobody should be known entirely. The goys and the Jews. The goys and the Jews.
I want you to be okay. I'll pepper you with questions, but if you have, if you have any questions that you want the goyish translation on, just please interrupt me at any time.
Okay.
But
I will.
But actually, go ahead.
No, like, please. I'm curious about like interrupting people. How do goyim handle that? Because we interrupt each other all the time.
Yeah.
We say, "Would you like more wine?" we say, "Do you want another martini?" And we just go get it.
No, and then you do the thing, and then you're like, "No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead."
Oh,
on a Zoom call for 45 minutes. We've all been there.
You think that's goyish? It's so funny because I've noticed some people accuse me of interrupting my guests on this podcast, which I actually don't think I do. I think there's a certain amount of interruption that has to go on podcasts. But ever since I started,
definitely interrupt our guests.
Yeah, you have to. But ever since I started uploading this podcast onto YouTube, the audio versions, like the YouTube dudes have come out and they've got all kinds of things to say about my vocal fry and my interviewing technique and interrupting guests and et cetera, et cetera.
Those are such ChayaLeah and I, we're like runners at the start of the finish line, and we're just waiting for the guest to like breathe. And that's when the gun goes off and we're both like, you know how they tell you, like, when you listen to somebody, don't just wait for your turn to talk. Like, I am actively waiting for my turn to talk.
Of course. Oh, yeah, that's what Fran Lebowitz said. Like, the opposite of talking is not listening, it's waiting.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Because I have something really good to say. It's not my fault.
I know.
That I have
I'm so glad this person said this, because it's going to go really nicely with what I am about to say.
Okay.
And they're going to love it.
Yeah. So the reason I had you back, in addition to my reparations, is that it's the Jewish holidays.
Yes.
It's the holiday season again. And I know we covered this. I like to have you guys twice a year to explain the Jewish holidays, because, you know, for me, it's just about alternate side of the street parking regulations suspended.
Hell yeah.
So what are we, what is this now? What comes first, Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah?
No. So I'm going to take this because Yael doesn't know shit about any of this.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I like when Yael does her version.
I know the answer to that. I know that Rosh Hashanah comes first. I also know, because I just booked a ticket to Israel. I changed my ticket to Israel. And I know that if you try to land the day before Rosh Hashanah in Israel and try to land the evening of Rosh Hashanah in Israel, it's like a $500 difference in your ticket price.
Why?
Yeah. Because nobody wants to land on the evening of Rosh Hashanah. It's like landing on like Christmas Eve. You like miss the holiday.
Oh, I see.
But Jewish holidays start at night.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Well, anyway, let me answer the question. So we are celebrating the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, which is a 2-day holiday. And we are coming up to Yom Kippur, which is a 1-day fast. And they're connected, but they're 10 days apart. And then we're going to have the holiday of Sukkot, which is an 8-day holiday where we eat in a hut. I could answer a bunch of questions.
I love that one. I love it because it has to do with houses.
I know.
Yeah.
You can go to do you think Zillow has like sukkahs? They should have a section.
Oh my God. They are in Los Angeles. They're listed. They're like, it's like $999,000.
Can you Airbnb
the only thing under $1 million?
If you don't have your own sukkah, can you Airbnb one, do you think?
I mean, people do share their sukkahs with others. Like, if you live in an apartment building, you have to be able to
like
share
a roommate.
With
you have a sukkah, roommate.
But
do you split like the utility bills?
Your sukkah is like up year round, is it not? Because didn't I go to your house and it was up?
Yeah, that was.
You're not supposed to say that.
You're like the people with the Christmas tree up all year.
I don't want to throw my husband under the bus here, but I will. And we have like a really pretty like Jerusalem background for the walls. And so we kind of kept it up longer than we should have. And then it became like, but Sukkot is in like 8 months. Why should I take it down? And then so we've had it up all year. So now we just have to like do a bit of work just to add like the roof part. And so.
Do you sleep there in Sukkot? Do you actually sleep outside?
So I come from a particular part of the Hasidic community. My particular sect does not sleep in the sukkah, but many, many Orthodox Jews do. They move their beds in there. They move everything. They do everything in the sukkah. Yeah.
Do they make like little kosher marshmallows on the fire?
Probably.
Like a little Jewish camping?
Eat. We do not eat. For those days of Sukkot, we don't eat outside of it, the sukkah. Like nothing. I mean, I do because women are not obligated the same way men are. But like my husband and kids will not take a drink or a bite of food outside of the sukkah.
That's a great diet.
Like you can only eat in like, because I feel like you could package that and make it like you can only eat in your closet in like one part of your house.
I know, but then you would just stay there and like stuff your face. But
it will make your life harder.
But it would be you could do that though without the guilt.
What I should have done is listened to our episode from last year so I know what I said because I'm probably repeating things.
They won't remember. They won't remember. All those people unsubscribed and now we have all the people.
Oh, good.
All of Meghan listeners are drunk.
I don't know if I told you about this, but we have something called a pop-up sukkah, which we take with us because everybody's off of school and work. And so it's like a big week of like going on trips and vacations. But how do you like spend a day at Disneyland if you don't have a sukkah? Disney's not putting up a sukkah. So we have something called a pop-up sukkah that is
Thanks, Ron DeSantis.
You know those like tents that you can pop up or whatever?
Yeah.
So it's built to be a sukkah and it has a little rolled mat of bamboo so you could put the roof on. And we like attach it to the car at lunchtime and the guys eat in there. I know.
So it's really like, can you imagine like a pop-up camper van? It's like that kind of.
It's kind of, but like much more transportable.
Right. Can you imagine being your family from like Tallahassee, Florida, like of 6 people waiting in line for Splash Mountain or whatever it is. And all of a sudden in Disneyland, all of a sudden you see like 8 little Orthodox kids all dressed the same, just like pitch a tent. And start eating hard-boiled eggs. They would probably think it's
an attraction. They would probably think it's like one of the rides or one of the things.
Last year,
we should do a Jewish theme park.
No,
like great. There could be a lot of good rides there.
You can joke about this, but like people take it seriously. We went on a boat ride last Sukkot, and my kids wanted to have snacks and drinks, so they brought along with them a sukkah on the boat. And had like, we literally dragged palm branches. I mean, it was, I think I have a video of it. It was hilarious. They were my boys were carrying palm branches with them so that they could make a little sukkah on the boat.
Oh my God. They're going to call Child Protective Services on you. I mean, that sounds really like.
I mean, I'm with Jamie Foxx on this one, I think. It's a little much.
I can't remember if you talked about this a year ago or when you were here for Passover, but the thing about like getting your car detailed because you can't have a single crumb.
That's Passover.
Okay. A lot of people didn't believe that. I got a lot of pushback on that, saying that that's not true and I shouldn't have let you say that.
That's hilarious. It is absolutely true. And if those people have a problem, they should call me. I'll tell them all about it. Or they should go to any Orthodox community and see what they're doing with their cars the week leading up to Passover.
Wait. ChayaLeah, no, that's not how you do it. You should listen to our podcast. That's the only way to get all the information. Because I learned last week on our podcast, actually, that if in Passover, like your dog doesn't have to keep kosher except on Passover.
Right.
Oh, I heard this. I heard this on your podcast.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But do they have kosher dog food?
Yeah, I think they do.
But actually, Orthodox Jews hate dogs, right?
Many do.
Have dogs.
Many don't have pets. It's now becoming a little bit more common. I'm seeing it more and more, but generally historically Orthodox Jews did not have house pets. But I think, as the culture seeps in more and more, I think I'm seeing it happen more. So
I would make a golden calf joke, but I don't have enough knowledge about it.
So like what is more work? Like are these holidays like more labor intensive or less so than Passover?
That's a good question. I mean, this is just a very long month because it's a holiday after holiday after holiday. By the time it's literally a month of holidays and it's exhausting. And I think for a lot of people, and I'm talking specifically about like Jews, like practicing Jews, you have guests over and you eat out at other people's houses and you go to synagogue a lot. I like host a ton. So it's just a very, very labor intensive month. But also there's like a very deep sense of like spiritual renewal and work that we're supposed to be doing on ourselves, which is an added like element of sort of, I don't want to say like a pressure, but definitely something that is in the back of my head, starting like now, right? Like leading up to this holiday season. So something. It's like a heaviness in a way.
Wait, like, but you have to pick something that you're gonna do? Or, like, what do you mean?
Like it's because the Jewish New Year is all about kind of renewal, and it's the time of judgment, as we call it in Jewish.
That's every day for me.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing. Judaism is very specific about how God judges us and how we should judge ourselves. And so Rosh Hashanah is like the time of year where we're supposed to do what we call a cheshbon nefesh, which is like an accounting, like a soul accounting. You know, what was our year? What did we have a good year? Did we have a bad year? What did we do for others? How did we screw up? Like, you know, are we in a good place? Are we happy? Like all of these questions that we should be thinking about and like existentially, right? Like we're supposed to be asking.
Is there a prompt I can use or something? Is there like a writing prompt?
Yeah. Go on Google like and Google LL prompts. You can find one.
Is there an app or something?
Yeah. But this is the time to like really do self-reflection in a deep way. And then
should we do it now?
No.
Should we all self-reflect right now?
We should, but the point is,
well, mine is quick because
I'll tell you what you can do, Elle. No, I'll tell you what you can do because now's the time to ask forgiveness from people. So I feel like you should ask me for forgiveness for all
what?
the times you were a bitch to me this year. I'll forgive you. This is Rosh Hashanah.
Wait, does that mean I can continue being a bitch to you from when this episode airs until?
Yeah, see, this
Yom
is
Kippur?
the problem with confession. It's just like one and done. Then you can go back to your old.
No, but that's why in Judaism that's not right. In Judaism, actually, you only get forgiven for your sin if you're truly repent, like you truly feel remorse, and you ask for repentance. Wait, and when you're placed in the same place again, like in the same spot where you can sin again, if you don't do it. So, like, if you actually change your ways, that's how you get forgiven.
Because I was totally going to, because I was going to confess for some. I was going to, not confess, I was going to apologize, not to you, but I was going to think, like, what did I do that's, like, kind of wrong that I always do? And I was like, I make fun of a lot of people, like, not to their face, but, you know, like, I'll see people walking around with, like, a mask in July 2023. I'll make fun of them. Or people who are very, like, weird, you know, kind of libs of TikTok. And I know it's not a nice thing to do. So I'd like to apologize for that, but also would like to continue doing that. So I'm a little torn.
This time of year is not about fake forgiveness. I mean, it's really about deep self-reflection, like really to think about the relationships you have with your family, your friends, what space you're taking up in the world. Are you making it a better place? Are you making it a worse place? Like, and Judaism wants us every year at New Year's, at Rosh Hashanah, to like consider it. You know, ask for what we want, ask for forgiveness, and then start again. Like every year you have a new start. I think it's very empowering, actually. I love the idea of like constantly starting fresh.
So do you know what you're going to think about?
Oh, yeah.
Or what you are thinking about?
I mean,
well, tell us.
I'm not going to confess right here, but
you don't have to. But
give us like an easy one.
I mean, there's a lot of things. I definitely want to be a better mom, a better wife, a better daughter, you know.
How can you be better at those? You're already, I can't imagine you being.
I can be a lot better. But thank you for saying that. But trust me, I have a long way to go.
I can hear your father listening to this and laughing out loud.
That you would have to stop doing your podcast if you were going to really be those things.
That's true. Oh my gosh. My kids on Shabbat this week at the table, my kids were roasting me about our podcast. They will not listen to it. They're so deeply embarrassed.
Good. I don't want them to listen.
And do you know what they're so embarrassed about? My son said, do you know that on Spotify, every single one of your episodes has an E next to it for explicit? He was so embarrassed. Like,
it's
every single episode.
You don't even swear. Why? What would that
we
even
do swear.
We do. We do.
Yeah.
And sometimes our guests swear too. But it's all in, but I feel like, okay, now true, like a moment of honesty. I feel like ChayaLeah especially is like doing a good thing for the Jewish world because she's introducing a lot of people to like weird Orthodox Jews and like making them seem normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing.
I think so she can be like an asshole in every other way. And she's still ahead.
No, I think it evens out. I don't know what my role is here in this podcast, but
you're indispensable.
Totally.
I'm the Israeli Israeli sidekick.
But Megan, do you think that it's a good idea to spend I think I think it's really healthy to spend 3 days, because that's what it is. Rosh Hashanah is 2 days, Yom Kippur is 1 day, to spend 3 days kind of self-reflecting. And I'm saying that as someone who hates self-help stuff. Like I'm not, I will not read a
just
self-help book,
meditate.
but there is something powerful about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to like decide how it would be different from all other days. You know?
Right.
Just a little recall there, a little Jewish.
Yeah,
little Jewish
exactly.
callback.
You're doing a great job.
But what if you don't want to self-reflect that day? Like, okay, here's what happens like to me, and I'm very caught up on this. You know, sometimes like Yom Kippur comes, it's like your birthday. What if you wake up on your birthday and you're like, I'm not in a mood to like celebrate today? You could wake up on Yom Kippur and be like, not really feeling the self-reflection today. Not feeling very spiritual.
Yeah, but I think that's why we have so many rules and restrictions about how we celebrate our holidays, because it puts you in a frame of mind. I mean, I'm never in the mood of self-reflection. The last thing I want to do is think about myself and what kind of person I am, because if I really thought about it would be hard for me to get out of bed. But on the other hand, when I am fasting for 25 hours, when I'm in synagogue praying all day, when you know what I mean? When I'm not drinking water, or when I'm in shul listening to the sound of the shofar, like these things are what sort of prompt you to get to a place where you start doing the self-reflection.
So this is where ChayaLeah and I really
hunger.
This is where we really differ, I think, and this is where the secular Jew and the Orthodox Jew differ, because I've like real talk. I've been to synagogue. I've heard the shofar. I've fasted every year on Yom Kippur, and nothing. Like I don't feel anything. It's weird. I don't feel anything. But so I try to take that into like other parts of my life. Like if I'm meditating or something, I try to be like, okay, well, there's some spirituality there. Or even doing this podcast, I'm like, that's my Judaism, I guess. ChayaLeah's like rolling her eyes. I can see them like rolling to the back of her head.
I'm not rolling my eyes, because you're right. It's not automatic that everyone is going to hear the shofar and be like, oh my God, please forgive me, God, for all my sins. But the idea is like people connect to different things at different times. I mean, there's some years that I don't feel connected either, but what I do feel very connected to is when I'm standing in synagogue and everybody in the congregation is standing there, and I notice, a few people who have tears pouring down their face, or I notice, the parents holding their kids, or I notice the old people who are struggling to stand up with their walker, but it means so much to them to hear the shofar and to stand for it. Like I really connect to my spirituality on a very like human level. And so it's really being part of the community in those moments and sort of absorbing it from the people around me that means a lot. It's not so much that I'm standing there and I'm like, oh my God, the sound of the shofar is just, I'm so awe-inspired right now,
I get that feeling when I go to a Broadway show.
Okay.
Also, can we explain, I know what a chauffeur is, but in case people think we're talking about a limousine driver, can you please explain and also spell it?
The horn of a ram, and
right.
it's like a horn basically that you blow, and there's like a certain sequence of sounds that we make. There's 3 basic sounds.
It doesn't sound like anything. It's not like a musical instrument.
It sounds like a whale. It sounds like a whale, meaning like a cry, And we blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Actually, this year, I know.
Like I'm going to Studio 54 and I blew the shofar.
We had a joke about this in our last episode. So.
I know.
Oh my God, you guys! I'm an innocent, clean woman. Like
this is why your kids don't want to listen to the podcast.
Thank God.
Well, this is my podcast. They're not going to listen to this.
That's right.
So you blow this ram's horn. Yeah, no, I've heard it.
Yeah,
cool. I think it's cool.
It is cool, and it is really evocative in a way, and it really does. It's very primal, when you're standing there and you're listening, and I just feel connected to it. I mean, again, I'm not saying like I fall on my knees and I'm like crying out to Hashem, to God. Like it's not like that, but it definitely touches me in a way, and it's meaningful, and it really gives me a pause to think about what I'm asking for, what I want to bring into the world, and and to ask forgiveness for the things I've done wrong. So,
do Orthodox Jews go to therapy a lot?
That's an interesting question. I mean, more so now than before, for sure.
Does a therapist have to be Orthodox?
So I think a lot of Orthodox Jews prefer to go to an Orthodox therapist because it's very hard to like explain our whole lifestyle.
Oh my
to
God,
someone
it
who
would take
doesn't
up the
know.
whole time. Like, sorry, our time is up. And
Right,
you've only gotten to like the card detailing part.
And
Right.
you'd have to pay. You have to pay for that too. That part,
Right. And to really understand, like if someone's struggling with something, I mean, you really have to understand the world we come from and the dynamics of the family and the community. And so it is helpful to have like an Orthodox, or at least somebody who knows the Orthodox world.
That's like saying that you have to, if you're like trans, you have to have a trans therapist.
This is standpoint epistemology right here.
I know. But it is kind of true. It is kind of true.
I think that makes total sense. Because I mean, the reason I asked is that everything that you're describing sounds like what people do if they go to therapy, for instance. Right. Yeah. Like I know you go to therapy. So every day is.
My mom's a therapist
for you.
I have never.
Every day.
I'm going to tell you something. I have never been to therapy. Never. Not one time. I should be going, but I've never gone. I don't know.
What about BetterHelp?
Maybe if we start talking about BetterHelp on our podcast, they'll pay us money.
No, I just
look. BetterHelp is the participation trophy of podcasts.
Yes, we don't need that exactly.
Because even I have had BetterHelp ads for a time.
That's
really. But did you have to say that you used it?
No, but you know what? Nick Gillespie,
he
says he has used it.
Oh, really?
How goyish is that?
I don't know.
How
that's very goyish.
Like that you,
I can't explain it. That's very goyish.
Uh-huh.
I feel like Jews want to go to the most expensive therapists.
Yeah.
Like not the cheap ones.
No, you want to go to like the.
But you also don't want to be distant from your therapist. Like you don't want like a texting, like an AI therapist or whatever BetterHelp is. I don't know. I don't want to defame them. But I feel like you want to go to somebody
I think it's real therapists.
See.
This is the gig economy. There could be like, very posh therapists moonlighting on BetterHelp. Who knows?
Well, I wouldn't go and this is, I don't want people to get mad at me, but whatever. This is your podcast, not mine. I don't want to go to anybody under 40 for anything. Not a therapist under 40, not a doctor, not a lawyer, and not an accountant, but especially not a therapist under 40.
What about a life coach?
Somebody who's
because
been doing
they're
this for
all
50
under
years.
30.
Life coach.
Yeah. Have you noticed that the life coach? Okay. Have you noticed that A, people are going to life coaches instead of therapists, and B, the life coaches are in their 20s. And I actually think that you couldn't be a life coach unless you were in your 20s, because only someone in their 20s like has the hubris to think that they can tell people what to do. I'm serious. And maybe there's some value there perversely.
No, you're right. I'll tell you something. And I think that a lot of people get tremendous help from therapy. And I don't want to sound callous about this. And what I'm going to say is going to sound a little callous, but too many people don't get help from therapy and waste their money and waste their time and should stop. Like if you're not getting help
they lie to the therapist.
Just stop.
They don't give them the whole story and they won't do the work.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that.
Just don't go.
But there are a lot of bad therapists out there.
Right. But that's why in my community, what's more normal and what's more like what we get like taught to do is to talk to mentors. Like I talked about it last time, a mashpia, like somebody who's in the community who you look up to, who you admire. They offer themselves as like a counselor almost, like you can, and they know you, they know where you're coming from and what you need. And so it's a lot more personal and there's a goal in mind. Like you're going because, you're struggling with whatever it is in your marriage or with your kids. So you're going with a specific issue and the person who you want to model their life is giving you help, to get through that issue.
I think that's great. Yes.
I have ethical concerns about this.
But
there's no ethical concern.
They can't tell on you, right? Like what's
no.
I mean, seriously.
It's a total trust thing. And like the Rebbe, the Chabad Rebbe, our leader of our Hasidic sect, was very, very much in favor of everybody having a specific mashpia, somebody who they call for life questions. And it was usually, a person, it's usually a person in the community, like my mother, for example, who's very wise and, has years of experience. She's not a therapist, but she's, and not to look down on therapists, they have a very specific need that they fill. But my mother could give a lot of good life advice. Your kid is misbehaving in school and you don't know what to do, or your daughter isn't nice to you and you have a bad relationship or your friendship or whatever, My mother has a ton of advice.
Are you talking about you? When you say your daughter isn't nice to you, is that
yes,
you? Your mother has experience?
Oh, yes. Oh my God. We could talk about that.
She has 13 kids, right?
No. My mother-in-law has
your
13.
mother-in-law. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mother
How many
has
siblings
6.
do you have?
6. We have 6. I'm the oldest of 6 kids.
Okay. Wow. Oh, that's hard.
Small.
Okay. So it's kind of like an AA sponsor.
Exactly. Yes. And everyone should have one of those. Like, I don't know. I mean, Meghan, you and I went out to dinner the other night, and even just talking through some of the things that we talked about felt like enormously like freeing for me. You know what I mean? And so
But that's friends. That's what friends do.
But that's what we need. People
Everybody
need
should have
friends.
friends.
It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Friends.
I think human
talking to a
relationships
friend.
are really important, you guys.
No, too many people don't
connections.
have that though. They don't have it. And that's why there's so much therapy going on. They just need friends. They need family. They need advisors.
Have you
That's what we
noticed
need.
that like therapy speak has becoming like, I feel like a lot of people don't know how to behave nowadays. So they talk to you like in a way that you can tell that they learned it from therapy. Like they're like
they're going to have a boundary with you.
Yeah.
They're going to set a boundary.
Like, yeah. They'll be like unnecessarily like verbal, or they'll be like opening up issues with you that are just like, dude, like, don't worry about that. Like I feel like with a lot of therapy today, it's just like helping people through really like normal behavior that they should have learned, like socializing on the playground.
Oh, like this is interesting. Like what?
Yeah, like bringing stuff back up from a long time ago. I don't know. I
like,
recently
okay, here,
had,
I'll give you an example.
Yeah, give an example.
So, well, this is because this is about us. This is about ChayaLeah and my relationship. So before ChayaLeah came on, I complained that she was late, and I complained to her, and but I complained to her before that she was late, and then she told me to shut up, and we got it out of our system, right? And I feel like if you were in like somebody who doesn't know how to behave, like maybe a younger person, you would go to your therapist and be like, "What should I do about my friend?" And then I would be like, "Hey, ChayaLeah, can I talk to you? Listen, it's really disrespectful of my time. And I was just hoping that you could, just see me a little bit more. And would that be okay?" And like, no, I'll tell you, stop being fucking late, and you tell me shut the fuck up, and then we'll go and record a podcast.
Wait, I was literally 4 minutes
so much
late,
better.
and you're always late. So I just want to put that out there.
Also, she was late because she was kayaking. I'm just in awe. I can't even believe that. You must have gotten up at like 4 in the morning.
I'll have to see photos.
It's morning here, by the way. Like it is morning on the West Coast still. And I have the
ability to get a lot of stuff done in one day. I don't know. I'm an Energizer bunny, I guess. I just like to get a lot done.
I can't. My dog wakes me up at like between 6 and 6:30 every morning just to eat. Like he doesn't even need to go outside. He's so obsessed with food. Like he just demands food, demand. And I have to get out of bed and give him food. And I have to force myself not to get back in bed.
By the way, I just want to say one thing in my defense. On top of the fact that we started at 11 a.m., sorry, I'm giving details, but you have to understand. I also went kayaking, and my oldest son moved to New York this morning. Okay. He left. Yes, he left and moved, and he's flying to New York right now, and he's moving there for college. And so I'm just like, a lot is going on.
Are you crying? Yeah. Oh my God.
No, I don't know why. I'm pretty calm about it.
Where is he going to college? Can you say?
He's going to a Jewish college in New York called Torah.
Yeah. That's Jewish?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't know that was
going
Jewish.
To a Jewish program. Yeah. Oh. He already graduated. I mean, he became a rabbi actually last month.
What?
Yeah. My son is a rabbi.
How old is he? Wait,
he's 21.
This is like the life coach that's 21. What is it with this?
I know, but he doesn't want to be a rabbi. But he was in yeshiva for 7 years, and so that's
it's like going to law school.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. You don't have to be a lawyer,
exactly. Right?
Okay.
So he got the rabbinical.
He's a non-practicing rabbi.
Yes, and now he wants to go to medical school. So he's
that's good.
So fulfilling every Jewish mother's dream.
How can you? I mean, what's the youngest you can be a priest? I wonder. I don't know. Because you don't see a lot of young. I mean, you do see the kind of youngish.
I do want to say that like young. Orthodox rabbinical ordination and like Reform rabbinical ordination are very different. So it's not like people shouldn't think in their minds that it's the same thing. Like my son completed 7 years of yeshiva. The last year he spent in France really studying very in depth for a year, all Jewish law, like especially about kosher and the laws of Shabbat. And he had 4 oral tests and 4 written tests by a head rabbi in Israel. Like it's very intense. But Reform and conservative and Reconstructionist rabbis go through like a 5-year process. They spend a year in Israel. It's like a very different.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very different. They spend a lot of time on like pastoral care. Like my son did not take any class on like how to be a good listener. It's
pastoral care. I was thinking like tending sheep out in the pasture. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was the wrong idea. Okay.
How to be a good listener.
Wow. So all right. So you could just go back to bed after this because
because I also have an engagement party and then a community barbecue and then a bat mitzvah all today.
They always have a bat mitzvah. The thing about Orthodox people you should know is that every day they have a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah or a wedding. And they don't just do like a wedding. They have like a Shabbat Chatan and a 30-day this, and then they celebrate when the bride has her period. And then
you're kind of like Latinos that way. Always a quinceañera, always a party. It's true. Always. It's all there's always a party in that.
Sometimes
I feel like I would be really.
What, you'd be tired?
No, I was gonna say I'd be really overweight because I'd be eating all the food.
Yeah, well.
So, okay, what are you doing? So it's 3 hours later for you. What are you going to do after this?
I am going to return my puppy, who I have for the weekend. His name is Otto.
That doesn't sound, that came out wrong. That does not sound, out of context, that's not good.
Yeah.
You're going to rehome him?
I'm going to rehome him. I'm going to throw him back to the street. No, I
Yael
foster
takes
puppies
care
on the
of
weekend.
Police puppies. Look, in case our listeners don't remember, you take care of police puppies over the weekend. You're not just returning your dog.
I'm like, I don't like him. We didn't vibe. No, I just had him for the weekend. He was a okay boy. He's very, very cute, but he's going back to his program, and then I'm going to go meet my friend for dinner in Brooklyn. I feel like my life is like very what's the word? Not glamorous, but like very just not important compared to ChayaLeah's life.
Oh, this is so funny because this is how I feel about my podcast partner, my other podcast, Sarah Hayter, because like she's always doing like important family things, and I'm always like meeting somebody for drinks.
Yeah, exactly. And like tomorrow, I'm going to work, and then I have a friend who's in town from somewhere, and we're going to do bar trivia.
Wow.
But also,
that all sounds really fun. I mean,
it is fun.
I
it is
try
fun.
to do those things
complaining.
too. I mean, yeah.
I'm not
I
complaining.
think we put a certain weight on like especially like kids stuff and family obligations, and which I love. I talk about this all the time. How much I love the community and family aspect of being an Orthodox Jew. But let me tell you, sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I don't want to go to a bat mitzvah on a Sunday or to a wedding, or it's a lot. And
I can imagine. All right. Well, speaking of a lot, so when ChayaLeah and I had dinner last week, isn't it weird? I booked this conversation with both of you, and then I ended up seeing each of you in person.
Yeah,
I saw Yael.
Oh my God,
a week ago.
Did you guys talk about me? Did you guys gossip?
Yeah, the whole time.
No,
it's okay if you did. I just imagine you said really nice things.
But then ChayaLeah and I had dinner in an Israeli restaurant that I found. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes,
that
was
nice.
Good job.
Really good
job.
In LA.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, and you can bring your dog, so it's not an Orthodox place. So we're going to go next time with Hugo. But so we got into a fascinating conversation about mikvahs. Speaking of a lot.
Do you want me to explain
the biggest pain in the ass? Okay, yeah. Yael, you give your explanation of mikvahs, and then ChayaLeah will try.
Then I'll fix it.
A mikveh. By the way, I've never seen one or been in one, but here's how I understand them. It's like a spa where Jewish women go, and those Korean spas where you get naked in front of a bunch of people and like somebody scrubs you down?
Yes, and then there's a transgender person and exposing herself.
Yeah, and there's like a floating dead body in one of the pools. That happened in Queens once. So It's like that, but you have to go at a certain time of the month, like at a certain time in your cycle. Mm-hmm. Right? Did I get that right?
Sort of, but
it could have been worse.
Sort of not. No, you got the cycle part right. So you want me to explain what the mikveh is? And
yes,
please.
Yeah.
Okay. And just interrupt me with questions as I go along. In a nutshell, part of Jewish law and life as an Orthodox practicing Jew are the laws of what we call family purity, I guess. I don't know. There's not really a good translation for it.
That sounds like eugenics.
It sounds
like
horrible.
an alt-right.
I know. It's like not something that Mike Pence would be.
It's really not the right English.
Yeah,
I know it's not the right English.
Is this a Richard Hanania deep cut?
But so what it is that, and I'm going to talk about it in two ways. I'll tell you like what the ideal is and what Judaism is trying to do with it. And then I'll also I can be open and personal about the like real experience of it. So what the idea is that marriage is hard and intimacy is very important in a marriage. And it's not only very important, it's probably the most important thing between a husband and a wife, physical intimacy and emotional intimacy, both. And when you're married for any amount of time, you know that is challenging, right? And some people have a harder time with the physical part. Some people have a harder time with the emotional part.
She's talking about sex for people who can't read between the lines, by the way.
Yes. I mean, I'm saying physical. What else does that mean?
I don't know.
Yes,
maybe there's like some weird Orthodox ritual.
Furniture together.
Yeah.
So what Jewish law does basically is it divides up the month in two, and it's based on the woman's menstrual cycle. So when a woman is menstruating, and then for a week after she finishes, so let's say your period lasts for 5 days or 6 days, then you count 7 what we call clean days where you're not spotting or having your period. And then that night, the night of the 7th night after this period time, right? So it's like 2 weeks basically, the woman goes to the mikvah. And during those 2 weeks that the woman's menstruating and then the 7 clean days, the husband and wife do not have any physical contact at all. So no hugging or kissing or
really?
Obviously no
What
sex.
about like pass the salt? Like seriously.
So,
you can't even graze the person.
Actually, that's a really, really good question because, and I want to just clarify one thing. Like I'm speaking as myself as a Hasidic Jew and like the way my community does it, people have different levels that they follow. So if you do something different, great. And kol hakavod to you. But I can just talk from what my community does. So actually, we do not pass things to each other during that time. I mean, that's something like my husband and I are not as careful with all the time, obviously, but a lot of couples are very careful about, putting things down before the other one picks it up. It's actually kind of, in the beginning when I learned about it, before I got married, I was like, that sounds ridiculous, but it does heighten something between you when you like are noticing that you are not touching.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's kind of sexy.
Yeah. It does remind you, it really does. Yeah. It does remind you that like, oh, especially like if you're in public and like he's like handing you something, but then he like discreetly puts it down so you can pick it up. Like it's just, a little reminder that, oh, it's not that time right now. So anyway, after those 2 weeks are finished,
okay,
then everybody's, ready to like touch each other again. The woman spends a day like getting ready and getting prepared and totally clean head to toe. And we'd like really spend a lot of time preparing for the mikvah, taking off like all nail polish but like really like we take a bath and 2 showers and like we really are you spend a lot of time. And then you go to this ritual bath, which is the mikvah. And I could say like what happened. You want to know what like happens there?
Yeah. So like you go there, like, is it a place? Is there like a front desk? Do you have to check in? Do they give you like a key? Like, is there a locker? Like, what do you do with your stuff?
Do you get a robe?
Get a room.
Can you take the robe home?
Gets a room. So if you live in a big city like LA or New York, like you go and there's like a waiting room and it's very private. You don't talk to people about it because you don't want your friends and family to know. Like,
this sounds like going to get a mammogram.
Yeah.
Sorry. That sounds like everyone just kind of waiting, sitting there nervously.
I think it's like when people, how awkward it is when people say like, we're trying to have a baby and they tell you that.
We don't do that.
Because then you're like, you're basically saying like, we're having sex. So I feel like that's the same with a mikveh.
No, you would never tell someone. Like you really don't tell anybody. I mean, it's really private between you and your husband. And so the mikvah attendant, there's like a woman who like is in charge of the mikvah. She will like organize it. So like in a community like I live in Long Beach, which is small, there's one small mikvah here. It's beautiful. There's like 3 dressing, there are rooms with showers and bathtubs, like a spa. It's beautiful. And you get your own room and you get ready in there. And then the mikvah, like the actual mikvah, the body of water that you go into is in a separate room and they come and get you. And so they organize it so you don't see anyone else that's there. You know what I mean? Oh. Even though it's a very small community. So sorry to my friends, but like often when I pull into the parking lot, I'm like, oh, I know that car and I know that car and whatever. But that's life. I mean,
Do you have to make an
So-
appointment or can you walk in?
in Long Beach, like in most communities, you make an appointment, but like in the big Jewish communities, you don't. You just can go. They have like 30 waiting rooms, and sometimes you have to wait in the, like I've been to mikvahs not here, like when I'm traveling or whatever, and you do have to like wait in a waiting room, and everybody's just sort of quiet and respectful, and it's a holy. I mean, everyone treats it like with utmost like holiness, and so it's not like weird or anything. So when you're all ready and you're ready to go into the mikvah, the mikvah attendant comes and gets you, and they take you into the actual mikvah, and you go down in it. It's water, it's like a spa. It looks like a jacuzzi, and you make a blessing. There's a bracha that you make, and our custom is to dunk 3 times. You have to get fully submerged in the water. We do it 3 times, and then you go home and have fun.
Everyone must know when somebody's pregnant because they're not going.
Well, right. So when you're pregnant, you don't go. And if you're not menstruating, you don't go to the mikvah. So if someone's on like a type of birth control that you don't get your period, or if you're pregnant, or once you hit menopause, I mean, then you stop. Yeah, you only go when you're menstruating.
But all the girls, so like when the girls first get their period, everybody knows. That must be
No, you only go after marriage. You
Oh,
only
right.
Yeah. The
Oh.
first time you go to the mikvah is generally the night before your wedding. And it's a beautiful, it's really like an exciting time for the family. The mother, usually your mom goes with you for the first time. And some, like in the Sephardi community, in the Mizrahi community, they make like big parties where like all the female relatives come, and it's like a whole big event. We don't do that in our community, but I know a lot of people who do that.
Like they see you naked going in there? Are you totally naked, or are you wearing something?
Absolutely, totally naked. You do not wear anything. But I never did. I mean, we don't do that. Only the mikveh attendant sees you naked. Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting. That's an interesting part. Like, it's funny because I always just assumed that it was too dark to see anything from up above, like while you're in the water. And then one time I was asked to be the mikveh attendant for someone else. And I was standing on top, and I'm like, oh, I can see everything. They can see everything. It's not so dark up here. So whatever.
So, and then you have to go home and have sex with your husband.
Yeah. So the idea is that night you're definitely having sex.
And
Yeah.
is this sort of set up like for fertility reasons? Like,
So
because your chances of getting pregnant 2 weeks after, theoretically,
yes,
I mean,
exactly. It's
knows?
like the best time to get your most fertile time. But also, like in your body's natural, like a woman's body, I think often that's when she's most open to sex and wants it most. And,
yeah,
like,
this is an evolutionary strategy.
Exactly. And like it really takes away the whole pressure of like making excuses when you have your period, or like making even, oh, I have a headache, I can't, we don't have that really. It doesn't really exist because 2 weeks out of the month, there's no discussion about it. And then once you go to the mikvah, like the expectation is like we only have, a week and a half or so that we could be like having sex.
So you're not allowed to have sex the rest of the month?
No, we can just until we get our period. So, but you only have like a week and a half or 2 weeks till that happens again. So
okay, but you can't have sex during your period or on these
or
sort
7
of
days.
margins.
Yeah, 7 days after. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What if somebody really wants to? Like, they can't know though. Like, what
do you
people
mean?
Want to?
No,
like,
but we don't. I mean, it's like keeping Shabbat or kosher. Like, we're really careful about it. We just don't.
Wow.
I know. But that's why, like, for a lot of people, mikvah night, I mean, it's almost like having a wedding night every month. Like, it's exciting.
God.
Like, it's always fresh, without the pain. Sorry. But, it's fresh every month. Yeah.
If you think, Meghan, if you think this is all weird, it's because it is very weird.
This is like the human version of getting your car detailed. I think people are going to listen and be like, I don't believe this.
Well,
this is going to be the same thing.
Look it up. I challenge anybody to look up the laws of mikvah and to understand. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to pretend that this is amazing for everyone and it's the most, helpful thing. I mean, there is a beauty to it that I really, really believe in, because marriages have to be both about passion, physical passion, but also about communication. And like, this really forces you to communicate for 2 weeks out of the month without like touching each other. And it's important to do that. And then on the other hand, there are times of the month where it's just like, we don't need to talk. Let's just, let's just do it, whatever. Like, and so it really helps balance those things out in a marriage, and it just keeps it fresh. It really, I can't explain it in any like more basic way. But having said that, I know some women who hate doing it, and I know many, many women who love it and who wait for it. And it's like anything, there's good and some challenges.
Wow. Yael, is this convincing you? I think.
I mean, it's so confusing to me. Like, first of all, I didn't know any of this stuff before I met ChayaLeah.
I'm stuck on the like
being
taking your
Jewish and
nail
growing up in
polish
Israel.
off part. Like
Are
taking
you
your
stuck
nail
on that?
polish off just seems like a huge pain.
What if you have a gel manicure?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I could tell you, as someone who gets gel manicures, probably giving myself cancer every single month, I schedule all of my grooming around going to the mikvah. So I always get wax before the mikvah, but I get my manicures and pedicures the day after the mikvah. Like I schedule everything around it so that
like when you go on vacation.
Right. So vacation is an interesting one because vacation.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you need to go to a mikvah, you really should be somewhere where there is a mikvah. Like, because I've gone in the ocean. I think I told this story. Sorry if I'm repeating.
No.
No?
Well, not on this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on our show, I
don't think so.
Oh, sorry to everyone who listened to the one on our show, but
they can't get enough. They like to hear the same thing over and over.
This is the kind of content you can expect.
They love it
if you sign up.
My husband will kill. I'm going to tell him not to listen to this episode, but
does he listen to this show? I bet he doesn't even.
He does.
Oh, really?
Oh, he does. Yeah, but I'm going to tell him maybe not to because he will be super uncomfortable with me talking about. We went on vacation once and the timing was just really off. And I ended up I had to go to the mikvah while we were on vacation. We were in Hawaii and we were in Kauai, and there's no mikvah there. And there was no way that we weren't. What?
Okay. Except the ocean.
Right. So you can go to like a body of water like that, but you have to go after dark. By the way, you can only go to the mikvah after dark. Like there's all these rules. Yeah. It's like, and you have to be completely naked and, so we were staying at a resort, and it was I thought it would be like so romantic and sexy to have that experience like in Hawaii. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be so intimate. Cause no one's going to be there and it's just going to be me and you. And my husband doesn't go in water. He doesn't really know how to swim. So he was very stressed out about it, but I love the ocean. So I was like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Anyway, it was the worst nightmare of my whole life because the water at night in the ocean is not friendly. It was so scary.
No, there's sharks. The shark is going to come. Thank God you don't have thank God your period's over. I mean, you definitely get eaten by a shark.
Exactly. I'm like, what if I'm getting bit by something? And I had to take off my dress in the water so that I could do it properly. And I'm like, it's going to float away. So I'm throwing it to my husband it was really stressful. It was really stressful.
Sounds like a romantic comedy with Adam Sandler.
I was going to say, this sounds like very fun. Yeah, exactly.
At one point, I just remember screaming over to my husband. I'm like, if I start to drown, do not get in the water. You run for help because then our kids will have no parents if you come in the water. So go get help. And he just that really scared him. So whatever. Yeah. But go somewhere where there's a mikvah. That's the lesson.
Wow. So don't go to Stockbridge, Massachusetts.
I don't. Where is that?
That's where Goyish people go. No, I'm just thinking you wouldn't go someplace if you go to Maine or something. I would. Yeah, well, be a lot.
Most places where there are if there's an Orthodox Jew in the place, there's going to be a mikvah. It's the first thing they will build, even before a synagogue or anything, because obviously the men, understand that if they want to get lucky, they need to have a mikvah local. So it's generally the first Jewish institution that is built, that in a cemetery. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm speechless. I don't know.
I feel like I didn't do it justice with the spiritual part of it. So maybe next time I could do a little bit more on that. This was a very practical conversation about it, but yeah, there's a lot of.
I learned a lot about sex life of Orthodox couples.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember that there was a scene in Unorthodox, which I know that one of the reasons that you started your podcast was because you couldn't stand the way the Orthodox community was being portrayed in the media, and especially in that series. And I remember there was a scene where she goes to the mikveh, I guess, before her marriage. And it's shown as being like this very dark experience, and almost as if she's being like held under the water or something.
Yeah,
that's the way I remember it.
It's like that could not be further from the truth, honestly. Like the mikvahs today. Now, I'm not saying that no one ever had that experience. I obviously haven't been to every mikvah, and I'm not in every community, but I have been to many mikvahs, and I have many, 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 I would say hundreds of female relatives and friends. That has not been the experience that I've ever heard from anybody. They're beautiful. They have updated. The mikvahs today are just like absolutely stunning. They look like any fancy spa that you would go to. And the women really, I mean, look, there is a generational shift happening. And I see it like in the mikvah attendants, for example. The older mikvah attendants certainly are more old fashioned and will ask you more questions or whatever, while the younger mikveh attendants are much more like, it's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable, whatever. Like, so it's a generational shift, and it's a beautiful mitzvah, and I think it's a really beautiful way to be married. Honestly, it's very, very helpful for marriage. It really is.
Wow. Would you be insulted if like it was appropriated by the mainstream, if there was suddenly like some kind of movement?
No, I think, look, it's funny because one of the things, this is like kind of depends on what part of the community you come from, but in the ultra-Orthodox community where I'm from, in the bedroom, we have 2 beds because we don't sleep together for the 2 weeks that I'm, menstruating, and then the 7 clean days. So we have 2 beds in our room. And that's becoming more common mainstream.
My grandparents had that too, but
really?
not Jewish, but they weren't Jewish.
That's so
that
funny.
I know of.
Yeah,
they were just like
they just didn't like each other
or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of I've been reading all these articles lately about couples like sleeping in separate bedrooms or
separate. Yeah, absolutely. Separate
I don't
wings.
think that's good, but like I think 2 beds is fine.
Do you know how many men snore? It's epidemic.
But also sometimes I want, like, I've had an experience where I said, tonight I just need my own blanket. So I gave him a different blanket, and I said, I just need to curl up in this blanket because I'm, on my period or whatever. And
right. Yeah, do you think, I have a question for you. So there's so mikvahs only really, it's only for married couples, but there are a lot of single women now who are like older, who are in relationships, who are not married, who are wanting to go to the mikvah. And that's become kind of like a new question in the Orthodox world that the rabbis are trying to grapple with. If like single women who are in relationships,
like before they go out on a Friday night, like before a Tinder date,
not like a one night stand, but like if someone has a boyfriend.
But are they even allowed to do that? Are they allowed to have sex with their boyfriends outside of marriage?
That's the thing. They're not. According to Jewish law, you're not. But there are some kind of workarounds in a way. And some people are saying that like they want the opportunity to do that since it's so, spiritual and holy, and makes
there's a lot
sex so much more holy. So I don't know.
Of people in Israel who are not religious, like you would think, like don't necessarily keep Shabbat or keep kosher, but like want to participate in more religious like rituals, and they'll do. And it's funny that you mentioned single women because I noticed it a lot of like. There's like a lot of superstitious, I think a little superstitious, things that women do. Like they'll go to the graves of all these rabbis up north and like ask for a mate.
In Israel?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There's a place called Amuka where one of the rabbis is buried. And it's like, if you go there and you walk around his grave 7 times, you're supposed to like find your match.
If I was a dude, I would hang out there all the time and just like.
I was going to say they should put like a bar.
Yeah,
should be like a nightclub.
No joke. My grandfather said that 25 years ago when we went there.
Really?
He's like, He's like, we should set something up here.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm surprised there isn't. But
I don't know. I kind of feel. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
go
no,
ahead.
I was just going to say.
Is that what Gentiles do? This is how we started this. Like, do you think that Gentiles defer in the conversation? I just think women do.
But we all just want to talk. I forgot. It probably wasn't very important what I was about to say.
I kind of feel like you should have to be married in order to do that. Yeah. I don't know.
It's like kind of
like health insurance.
Yeah, I could see myself doing it maybe on my around a wedding as like a special occasion thing. Like going to a Korean spa. Again, it's not something I'd want to do every month. But,
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. Listen, it really is a lifestyle, but I have friends who are not Orthodox who go to the mikvah every month and who are married.
Does it cost money?
Who go to the mikvah.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much
You
does
have
it
to pay?
cost?
It's like $25 a visit.
Each time?
Do you get
Mhm.
like
what
a
is-
punch card?
I was going to say, is it like a car wash? Like you get a free
Do you
one?
get like a
after
free
you've been
eyebrow
how
wax?
many times?
If you go to the 10th time.
Some mikvahs now, the new ones that are being built in some of the more posh neighborhoods, have a nail salon in it, so that you
Nice.
can
get your gel
you can
manicure
get
put back on.
manicures right after. Yeah, I know.
I love it. See that? I can get on board with that.
Yeah,
So wait, but what if somebody's really poor? Is it on a sliding scale?
absolutely. I mean, if someone can't afford it, no one would ever ask them for any of the money. And the money is just like a token. Everybody volunteer. It's all volunteer based. At least in our community here, the women who are the mikvah attendants are all volunteers. And and if you can't afford it, you totally go for free.
And it's like, and these are all over the place. Like they're in Beverly Hills,
Everywhere.
and I just haven't noticed. Like,
They're
are they
everywhere.
like, are they secret? Like, are there signs? Like, how do you know where they are?
Generally, because it's like very private, generally they're not going to be like big, marquee like announcements.
Wait,
where
are they on Yelp? I'm looking on Yelp near me to see the mikvahs.
Oh my God.
Because I want to see their
They're
reviews.
You could go to
oh my
there's
God,
a website. There is?
Upper West Side Mikveh. It has 2 reviews, 4.5.
Where is
but
it?
I want to see
Should
what
you
it is.
say?
But they're all
Maybe
Upper
they'll be a
West Side
sponsor.
Mikveh is incredible. This is from 9 years ago. It's incredibly clean and respectful. They have all the necessary cleaning products: toothbrush, toothpaste, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you do get a robe. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
But I want to hear like, but this one's expensive. It's $30.
Oh,
No, I want to.
yeah.
I want to see like bad reviews. I want to see like.
I'm sure there are. There's a website called mikvah.org for when, like, if you're ever anywhere and you want to check out a mikvah, you can. That's where.
But do you have to be Jewish? Okay, what if I went? They would just turn me away.
Yeah, probably.
Or Yael. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they would
would.
ask. They would definitely ask, like, why? If they don't know who you are, they'll ask a few questions, like, "Are you Jewish? Are you married?" Like
I'm
that.
totally
But,
in the LA mikvah Yelp scene now, and there's really they're getting better reviews than most like sushi restaurants I've been to. They're all like 5-star. Maybe that's like, is that part of it?
Is this
I'm
like
looking
a
for a
growth
bad review.
industry? I mean,
yeah, they build them. I mean, let me put it to you this way: like, I lived in Crown Heights when I first got married 22 years ago, and Crown Heights had one women's mikvah then, and it was a zoo because Crown Heights was a huge community of women. So every night there were tons of people there. I think there are now like 3 more mikvahs, and they are 10-star, not even 5-star. Like gorgeous, gorgeous.
Wow.
And
I feel like
they're
this is
more
the longest
expensive.
anybody's ever talked about mikveh.
I know, and they're like in Brooklyn. They're probably hipster. Like it's probably like an artisanal.
Yeah,
pickle
there's
place as
you
well.
have to Google it and like look at new mikvahs, and you'll see like this is not the Masada mikvah, like because in Israel, like you'll see ancient mikvahs. They were like stone and whatever, rocks. This is not the thing we're going to. These are beautiful spas. So,
Wow, this is very.
yeah.
I think you're going to get a lot of conversions, converts, as they say.
Well, actually, when you convert, you go to the mikvah too. That's part of the process of converting.
Oh, you can still go, Meghan.
I know. This is actually you've made some headway here.
Yeah.
And there are Orthodox is growing, right? Did we talk about that before?
Yes, it is.
Because of stuff like this, I would imagine.
You know what? I think in the world we live in today, with the problems that we're facing, I think Judaism and Jewish law has answers to some of the big questions that people are searching for. And, I work with college students, as many of your listeners probably know already, and the things that they're worried about and the things that they're feeling, when you are part of a tight-knit community with, lots of support and boundaries and, sort of structures in place, it's just really helpful in this kind of huge world that feels very lonely. So people are like coming back to it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Ritual means a lot to people today. When people don't have strong family ties, I think human beings love the idea of ritual to begin with. So if you have families, there's a lot of like familial ritual. But if you don't have that, where do you find that kind of ritual? Where do you how do you ground yourself in like meaning.
Yeah.
to
Well,
life.
people go to like yoga class.
Yeah.
And Pilates
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
stuff.
say
Seriously.
soul cycle.
It's true. Exactly. It's true.
There is something very satisfying, like when you're a regular at a group exercise class. It's like you get there and you know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
There's something like very satisfying about that.
Right. That's what religion is.
Yeah.
Exactly what
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
describing. Right.
Yeah.
Or like if you're a sports fan or, like there's something about understanding how it all works and knowing the inside
Right.
and being part of something. It's very powerful. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, before I let you go, is there anything we need to know about your podcast these days?
I hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. I don't know why. I really love it.
I love it.
think
I did not think I would
ChayaLeah
like
doesn't
podcasts.
understand why people listen to it.
No, I
But
love
they
it.
do,
It's
they do.
it's really fun. Yael and I think have really hit our stride. Hopefully, I mean, I hope, hopefully more.
You're having a
but
lot of guests.
Yeah,
Look, it's
we're having
great.
a
You
lot of-
have
Yeah.
I could
We're
put it
having a lot
out
of
here,
guests,
like
which is exciting.
my dream guest, and I'm going to put it out here because, like, maybe if I say it, it will happen. And maybe somebody that listens to your podcast has a connection to this person. But my dream guest right now is Monica Lewinsky. So if I really want to have her on, I really want to talk to her.
She'd be great.
Yeah.
She's a hero, actually.
Yeah. I really want to
she
talk to her.
refused
She would
to.
be- she would be
she
pretty
refused
cool.
to talk. She did not want to talk to the FBI. She really she can keep a secret. It's so ironic because
I know
the way she's perceived is like absolutely 180 degrees from reality.
Yeah, it's such a different
what happened to
time.
her?
But also, I feel like today, if it happened today, it would be like obnoxious to the other side in a way.
Yeah.
Like we would turn
I
her
know,
into
she'd
some
be-
kind of hero.
Well,
Yeah.
she
Where
was,
in reality,
I mean,
she
what
got
the
really
Clintons
screwed
did to
over.
her. Yeah. I mean, what the
Yeah.
Clintons did to her, what Linda Tripp did. I mean, she was
I know.
a monster.
Unbelievable.
Like,
yeah.
horrible person. I mean, I'd love to unpack it all with her. I mean, if she would be
She was
willing
like
to
the
talk about
butt of
that.
the world's jokes,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like not.
But we were
cool.
all just
But
jealous.
I would,
let's be
yeah.
honest.
I mean, we would
She's
all. Let's
very
be honest, we would
beautiful,
all do the
too.
same thing. We would all, if
Of
we
course.
were in that same situation, we would all like. We would
Blow the
all like
president?
hook up with the president.
Blow the chauffeur first.
But
and
not
then
with
Yeah.
Biden. I
blow the
wouldn't with
president.
Biden. Not because I don't like
go to
him,
the
but I
mikveh
just-
first. He's too old. He's too old. Even for me, he's too old.
Yeah, Biden just doesn't. I wouldn't go. Like, we usually talk about dictators. Maybe we should talk about presidents today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I know.
Yeah,
We have to go in a
hot
second, but yeah,
presidents.
hot. Yeah, who do you like on the Republican candidate roster?
Like
who's
in
hot?
hotness.
Are there any Mormons?
Well,
Well, look, I love
would-
Mitt Romney, but
Yeah,
he's not
we love
running.
Mitt
Oh,
Romney.
Mitt
I
Romney's
love
super
him.
hot.
Yeah.
Totally hot.
Vivek's not
I
bad
don't like-
looking. I think he's good looking.
Oh, he's so annoying though. I really
I
like.
don't
I know a million Viveks. Like they all went to Harvard Business School. I referred to him the other day as a walking
That's
like
a humble
LinkedIn
brag,
profile.
Yael.
I know.
Well, I didn't go to Harvard Business School.
You
But
went
I
to
know, but
Harvard.
the fact that you would like
other
hang out with
school.
people like a million of him.
But we all know a million of him. We all know a million of him. He's like a walking like work hard, play hard kind of guy.
Whatever. He's
I
good
am very
looking.
unimpressed by him.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's not bad looking. I'll give him that much. But I don't know.
Trump
There's
is
no
not
like
good looking.
hotties. No, definitely not. Mugshot, no. Usually
Is
I like a good
DeSantis?
mugshot.
What do you think of
No,
DeSantis?
not
I think DeSantis is
no.
kind of cute. He's kind of cute. I like short kings too. I'm a fan.
Is he short?
Yes,
He's
pretty
he's,
short, yeah.
he's too short to be president. What is
Really?
the shortest president that we've had? I mean, this is
know.
why.
That's a good question.
You know
a
who
lot
looks
of these
really
guys-
good in his picture is I mean, this is going back a few years. But John Quincy Adams seems really short.
He was hot.
Oh, he seems short. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. But
no,
mean,
that's because
obviously-
what's his name played him. And he's
Who?
short.
do you think that
Um,
JFK was the best looking president, or is there someone better?
I don't like his style.
He's too good looking.
Preppy.
Too?
Yeah,
I think
He's
Thomas
too- he's too
Jefferson.
preppy.
He was hot.
Obama was pretty
Um,
hot when he started.
Yeah,
Obama, yeah. Clinton.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
Clinton
The
was-
world needs
you know
more
who's
hot leaders.
right? Well, no, you know who's hot is George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, he
Oh
is.
yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
It's funny because I did
Definitely.
not think so when he was president, but I think so now.
He aged well.
Yeah,
he's
aged
grown
well.
on you.
Mhm.
Totally. I mean, Jimmy Carter seems really short. But I also,
I thought you were going to say
he's
seems
also
really
like
hot.
200 years old.
I also hate him, so that's separate.
They made them shorter back then, I think. Yeah, but I don't know. We don't have any. I can't really think of any
Teddy
hot
Roosevelt.
like world leaders right now. No, Teddy Roosevelt wasn't hot.
What about Macron?
Yeah,
he's not bad.
I also think
Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau is kind of cute,
and he's single now.
even
Yeah,
though he's awful.
Oh my god.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he's awful.
And Macron is married to someone much older, so I don't know.
And
he's cool.
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, he married his like
these
teacher.
are all terrible
didn't
people.
That's hot. There's nothing unhot about being terrible.
Okay, I'm going to say the most controversial thing. Here, are you ready?
Okay.
I think Bibi is hot. Okay, said
Bibi
it.
Netanyahu.
He was hot like 30 years ago.
I think he's hot.
He was hot 30 years ago. He's
Wait,
not
I
hot
have to tell you
anymore.
something I almost forgot, and I want to say this about because I was looking up hot dictators earlier today because I wanted to have
Yeah, me
a good
too. I
one
couldn't
on
find any.
That's a theme. In case anybody's just tuning in,
Yeah.
this is a theme in our conversation.
Yeah,
There's a lack
exactly.
of dictators.
Because I
in the
thought
world.
that Osama bin Laden had soulful eyes.
right, and I thought that Stalin and Gorbachev were really hot.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
when they were
and
younger.
that Saddam Hussein
Yeah.
cleaned up nice when he was
Yes,
Yes, he did. And
a
a young Gadaffi.
Yes,
And
young
a young
Gadaffi.
Joseph Stalin.
That's
Yeah.
true. But when I
Yes.
was looking at a list of top 10 hottest dictators, so I was scrolling through and it was the usual suspects.
Was it on BuzzFeed?
But then number 7, guess who number 7 was? Jared and Ivanka Trump. Jared and Ivanka. I'm like, what?
Dictators.
What?
They're
not
dictators? I know.
Also, like, what is that? Like polyamory? Like, how are they? They're hot together? Like, what is they come
are
as a
kinda hot
couple?
together, though.
They're
I don't
they're
know. It
swinging.
was so weird.
No,
It was weird.
Justin used to be cute, but he's gotten Jared.
Who?
Excuse me,
Jared?
Jared.
I think he's
he
cute.
used to be cute.
Yeah.
He's cute,
But
but
this
again, a
bizarre
little too
plastic
clean cut.
surgery.
I like my dictators a little rough around the edges. I like them to do their own dirty work, like Putin.
Yeah.
mean,
Putin
I
is
know.
not good looking. Ew.
No,
But Putin was good looking. Like, remember when he
Oh my
rode that
God.
horse?
Yeah,
without a shirt?
you
Zelensky is
really
pretty
widen
good
that.
looking.
Oh,
Eh.
Zelensky's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, not my type.
You
All
know,
right.
we can only
Well,
hope that there'll be more dictators next time we record.
Well,
this,
now
so
I
we'll
have
more
what
men
to
choose
do
from.
on. I'm happy I have what to do on Rosh Hashanah, which is ask forgiveness for this last 5 minutes of conversation from God Almighty.
for this whole
Please
conversation.
forgive me. I know.
Yeah, that's what I had here. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Happy holidays. What's the
Thank
right
you.
thing to say for this?
Happy
time,
New
this
Year.
time?
Happy,
Happy New
sweet,
Year.
and healthy
Shana
New
Tova.
Year. Yeah. Shana Tova.
Okay, Shana Tova.
Yes.
Great.
Happy reflection.
Thank you.
All right. Well, see you at Passover.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Bye. That was my conversation with Yael Bar Tur and ChayaLeah Sufrin. They are the co-hosts of the Ask a Jew podcast. ChayaLeah is the director of the Long Beach Hallel here in California, and Yael is a crisis communications and social media consultant in New York City. Yael previously worked for the New York City Police Department as the social media director and did digital strategy for them, which we did not talk about in this conversation, but we have covered in the past. So if you liked this, go back and listen to our 3 other interviews. They're great. What do you need to know? If you are listening to this, you are not a paying subscriber, and therefore you are missing the bonus content that I do nearly every week, including this week. So you should go to my Substack, which is Meghan Daum, Meghan with an H, and then daum.substack.com. And you can get stuff I wrote there. You can get all kinds of extras, all kinds of perks, including what I'm about to give you now, which is a discussion about the pronunciation of my last name. Doing some solo bonus content. So paying subscribers are going to be able to hear that. If you would like to hear that, go to meghandaum.substack.com and become a paying subscriber for as little as $7 a month. I will be back next week with another super nuanced guest. Thanks for listening. See you then.